The Wuthering Waves community is so interesting for a couple of reasons. Because when you glaze their game, you get a response that I get from a video like this. Now, obviously, a lot of the comments were from Asmongold viewers, but I could tell there's a lot of Wuthering Waves players that were, in agreement with me. And in that video, a TLDR, if you haven't watched it, is I basically said, like, hey, in this video, Asmongold, who's someone who plays a lot of games and has a pretty good pulse on how good games are, said, hey, I want to test Wuthering Waves on the Steam machine, alongside other games like Expedition 33, Elden Ring, and those are just to name a few of them. And in that video, I was basically glazing Wuthering Waves, being saying like, hey, like, he's not wrong. Like, if he is saying that, like, he wants to test a gacha game, which is honestly a pretty high level gacha game, alongside some of the best games of all time, that says something about how good Wuthering Waves is and the quality. If we just take a look at this, which I'm sure a lot of you guys have probably seen. I saw this and I was quite impressed. I said, good God, that looks impressive. This is not your run-of-the-mill gacha game, right? This level of quality looks like something out of like another game. And yeah, sure, it's still an anime gacha game, but it is still quite impressive. I was not expecting this from her gameplay. And yeah, when you look at something like this, and when I have comments where people are saying it's unfair for you to compare Wuthering Waves to an Elden Ring or an Expedition 33. But when I glaze the game and I say it's being put up there with some of the greats, people want to be all excited about it, right? I want to tell you guys a story. I have played Apex Legends for the good part of, I would say, 5 years. I would say I have a little, let's just say 3,000 hours. I know I have more than that, but somewhere around there, right? I think I have a pretty good pulse on a lot of games that I play. I think I probably have around 1,000 hours in Wuthering Waves, somewhere around there. Close, maybe not exactly, but close. Pretty close. Maybe like 800, 900, right? The reason why I bring up Apex Legends is because I played that game, and I played one character, few characters, and the character I played was Ashe. Now, if you guys have ever played Apex Legends or played it for a while, Ashe at one point was terrible. And I made a couple suggestions. I talked to some of my friends who I also played the game with, who also had a similar amount of hours as me, and I said, hey, they could buff this character by doing these two things. And a lot of people said that would be overpowered. She would be broken. And I said, I don't think so. I think it would actually make her kit like pretty useful, and I think she would be a lot better. And well, months later, Apex Legends decides to buff Ashe, my favorite character in that game. And what do? The exact same buffs that I said that they should do. Now, at first I thought, wow, the devs are they listening to my conversations I have with my friend on the phone? Like, what in the world? Because even my friend can tell you that we had this exact same conversation 7 months before they buffed the character. Months before. I said they should do this. Now, it's not to glaze or anything like that, but all the things that I said I think that they should do, they legitimately did. They gave her double teleports, they gave her double tethers, they extended the tether like radius a little bit. They just made the character a lot better, right? And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like they actually listened to my conversation because I said the exact same thing months ago, right? And when I look at a game like Wuthering Waves, I can see its potential. I can see the things that they could and shouldn't do. Hence why I put out a video down here called Dear Wuthering Waves. Now, mind you, in this video, I think me, Loki Gotcha, and Bright Night 1, we basically came together and we kind of brainstormed some ideas. I spitballed some ideas out, and I made this video. And almost every single thing that is in this video has now made it into the game. Now, there are some things that are still not in the game yet, but almost every single thing that we recommended and that I put out in this video was put into the game. I said, hey, we should have more team slots. What did they add? More team slots. Hey, we should be able to just auto-synthesize instead of having to convert, go into the menu, synthesize materials to the next level to then level up stuff. Or if we have the little crates that basically give us the essential materials, you should just be able to use them instead of having to manually use them. I said, and I gave an example. Hey, Hawkeye Star Rail does this. How come you guys don't do this? You should put this in the game. Now, I want to bring up some comments in this video because people just assume that I just don't make comparisons with other games that might have features that are in their games. And honestly, if you're afraid to make a critique about your game, or you don't want to make a critique about your game, that is a very scary place. Because now the game will become like Hawkeye Star Rail or Genshin Impact, where people are going to say, you can't critique my gacha game. No, we don't want any suggestions about what you think would be interesting to add into the game. That's the same problem that a game like Genshin Impact and Hawkeye Star Rail ran into. People weren't willing to say, hey, this sucks, or you should change this, or you should try this, or you should add this, or you should do this. If less people are talking about the things that can be improved about this game, then this is going to become the next Genshin Impact. I have a couple comments down here, right? Now, if we scroll down a little bit, we have this comment. This is a pretty wrong comparison from the get-go. Not only are you comparing apples to oranges, essentially apples to steaks. Elden Ring and Expedition 33 are AAA and AA games respectively, which you pay full price to get. Now, I understand that, but just because a game is free does not mean that we cannot compare it. Because I just made a I made a video glazing Wuthering Waves, basically saying like, hey, this game is so good that it's willing to be tested on a Steam machine with some of these two games. Where's the people at in the woodwork saying, hey, this is an unfair comparison. It shouldn't be tested with these games. It's just simply apples to steaks. AAA and AA games. Did you have to pay full price for? Just because you have to pay full price for a game doesn't mean it's not a quality game. You look at a game like Fortnite, that's a damn good game for a free game. I'll tell you that. Apex Legends, free. There's a lot of good free games. You got a lot of terrible free games. Just because a game is AAA doesn't make it good. Look at Call of Duty. That game is terrible, and it's a AAA game. I honestly think that a game like Wuthering Waves is better than Call of Duty. The game Call of Duty is the same slop that has been coming out for the past 5 years. Trust me, I know. I've been playing Call of Duty for a long time. I would know. Call of Duty's been the same Call of Duty. It's been the same slop for the past 5 years. Outside of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 2019. That was a good COD. Everything else, trash. And those are AAA games. So just because a game is AAA or AA and you have to pay money for it, doesn't automatically make it good. Again, case in point, Call of Duty. So when people make comments basically saying, well, it's unfair to compare Wuthering Waves to these games. No, it is completely fair. There are so many single player free games that are doing just as good or better than some of these games that you have to pay $70 for that are absolute slop. So, to this comment, I understand that there are elements within this game that are, not like those other games. But that doesn't mean that you can't pull from good aspects from great games. I mean, surely Wuthering Waves got some inspiration from one of these games, maybe. I'd be willing to bet that they maybe pulled some inspiration from maybe some of the other Dark Souls games. And the combat. Maybe, just maybe, pulled a little inspiration. And then we're going to go to the last comment, which I respect the respectfulness, but at the same time, I do think it should be addressed. So I have a fella down here that basically claims, he says, I feel like he's afraid of bringing up Hoyo games, even though that would be the best comparison to make his point, since those games are asking for exactly what he is requesting in diversity. Now, this is not the case, because if Hoyoverse games had something that I thought were appropriate to mention, I would mention. Hence why in the things that I would like to see in Wuthering Waves video, I happen to mention that there are systems in those games that they should add into this game. I specifically mentioned that it is super annoying to have to go in, manually synthesize, and then go back to level up something. How come you just, and I said this before in that video, how come you just don't add the system that is in like Honkai Star Rail where it automatically does it? Because it's super annoying to do. And what do? Add it into the game. So I'm not afraid to mention Hoyoverse in any of my videos. But when I feel that it is appropriate to mention, I will, because when credit needs to be due, we'll give credit due. So I appreciate you guys starting up a discussion for this video, which has been great. It's been great reading some comments. I think that it's great that we can brainstorm ideas. And that's the whole point of this video, is that we all enjoy Wuthering Waves. But I don't think that we should be so afraid to critique or suggest things that could be improved upon. But I will say that I think that there's a lot more that we should critique Wuthering Waves on. Because I played Genshin Impact for a long time. I played Honkai Star Rail for a long time. And I know what it looks like when you have a community that's too soft to call out or ask for things or request for things or say, hey, we do not like this thing, you need to change it. Because then this game will just become Genshin Impact. And that's what I don't want to happen. Because honestly, if it wasn't for all the great things that this game has, honestly, I would probably just go play Genshin Impact, even though it sucks. But this game has all the things that I would want in Genshin Impact. That they have a skip button. You can farm stuff whenever you want to. I mean, there are so many great things in this game. But again, we shouldn't be afraid to ask something of these people. And yes, it's a free game, but also just to put it out there. Yes, it's a free game, but I also have spent money in this game. So I feel like it should be pretty fair for me to ask something of a game. Say, hey, I would like to see this. And sure, my idea might not be put in the game, but it doesn't hurt to ask. It doesn't hurt to say, hey, this thing sucks. Or this thing needs to be changed, or you should add this. And I'm not saying that Hoyoverse, or not Hoyoverse, but Kuro Games, they saw my video and like, oh, we should add everything in that dude's video. No. But also, there are a lot of things that we mentioned in that video that either sucked or just like were pain points in the game that were just quality of life that we would like to see added into the game as someone who are fans of the game, right? I just wanted to point out that so often gacha players want to act like these gacha companies can't actually cook. I mean, guys, we saw the gameplay of this character, and it's quite impressive for a gacha game. And again, just because I compare it to better games that have great stuff in them doesn't mean that they cannot be added into another game that I think is really great. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.